What's up guys, Flaming Victini here, and this is my debut SPL match. I'm actually playing DPP for this game, Diamond Pearl Platinum, and Stathicus was supposed to play against Malekith, but he actually got into a little car accident. He's thankfully okay, but so I was the only one, I was the only sub who was available to play DPP at this time, so I got put in, and I'm up against Malekith, who is quite a good DPPer, and yeah, let's get right into it. So remember, there is no team preview, so he actually leads off with a Tyranitar as I lead off with my Flygon. I decide there's no reason to go for an Earthquake because he could switch out, so I just go for a U-turn. It would get damage on him, the T-Tar if he stays in, as he actually switches out to his Aerodactyl, so I get off a little damage on that, and I can just bring in my Jirachi. This is my Stealth Rocker, so I decide to go straight for the Stealth Rocks, as he switches out to his Heatran, which I can't touch, so right here I decide to pull a switch into my Suicune. Even if this Heatran is Pasho Berry and like Explosion, it won't be able to kill me, and removing the Heatran will be really good for my Jirachi. So he actually pulls a switch into a Bomb Snow as I go for the Calm Mind, and I went for the Calm Mind kind of just to see what he wanted to do. Looking at his team, I kind of expected there would be a Starmie as one of these last two Mons, so I also wanted to Calm Mind so I could threaten that Starmie if it wanted to come in, but he actually brings in his Abomasnow, and I see the leftovers, and this is telling me this is Leech Seed, like protect Abomasnow kind of thing, so I pull a switch into my Breloom. I've already revealed my Jirachi and my Suicune is in, so I really did not expect a Blizzard from this Abomasnow, so I'm able to get in my Toxic Orb Breloom on the Leech Seed and Spore this Abomasnow. This is Gen 4, so I can Spore the grass types. Now, I don't actually have Substitute, I have Mach Punch. If I had Sub, I might have gone for it right here, but instead, I pull a switch into T-Tar. This really pressures the Abomasnow because I am banded, and it also removes the Hail, as he actually pulls the switch into Heatran. If I went for the Focus Punch there, this thing would have been dead, but I go for the Stone Edge. That's my first Stone Edge, as he goes for the Protect. And here he actually reveals the Bronzong, and this Bronzong had me concerned because if I was not careful with my Suicune, this Bronzong could potentially put in a ton of work on my team. The last is a Gengar, so I actually go for another Stone Edge, trying to get some damage on this as he goes for the Trick Room, but I miss. So here I just pull a switch into my Suicune. I do have Gengar to come in on the Explosion, but I mean, if he explodes with this Bronzong and removes my Suicune, that's a better trade-off for me. I'd rather have this Bronzong gone and lose my Suicune in exchange. So he actually goes for the Earthquake, and I just rest up here to maintain myself healthy. I'm actually Resto, Chesto, Calm Mind, which is really, it works out really nicely here, so I can check the Bronzong a bit better, come in later on in the game, as he goes to his Abomasnow. So I pull another switch back into T-Tar, really just get the sand back up again, remove this annoying Hail, and threaten this Abomasnow, as right here, he decides to stay in. He doesn't really have a switch into Banded Tyranitar, as I go for the Stone Edge, and unfortunately I do miss the Abomasnow, and the Trick Room ends right there, so right here, so he did outspeed the last turn, but this turn he actually goes for the Protect, so that wastes another Stone Edge. So I've already used 2 against that Bronzong, and now I've used 2 against this Abomasnow and 1 against that Heatran protecting, so I'm already down to like 3 Stone Edges, and here I go for another Stone Edge. This would 2-hit KO the Bronzong, but unfortunately I miss again, so I really have to play around this Bronzong very carefully. So I just pull a switch straight into my Suicune. At that point, he might go straight for the attack, and there's no point Stone Edging another time, as he does go straight for the Gyro Ball. And I go for the Hydro Pump, and I miss. So like, this Bronzong should be dead like 10 times over, but unfortunately that is not the case. So here he's gonna pull a switch into a Abomasnow, as I think I just go for another Hydro Pump if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I do. So it doesn't really do much damage to this Abomasnow, but there's no reason for me to leave the Suicune in. It can be very useful sack fodder later on. So I decide to pull a switch into Jirachi, as he just goes for the Leech Seed. That was his best play, because he'll get some recovery from the Suicune. And even though it was quite obvious to me, there was no point going into Breloom and getting bopped by a Blizzard, because if you look at the makeup of his team, Breloom is extremely good. Aerodactyl usually does not run flying coverage. Usually it's Stone Edge, Earthquake, Roost, and Taunt. So Breloom can beat that. It can Mach Punch the Heatran once it's weakened. It can beat the Bronzong. It can Spore a lot of stuff too. And I'm thinking at this point that the last is a Starmie. It just fits very well on his team. So there's really no reason to go to my Breloom. And here I pull a switch into Tyranitar once the Leech Seed is activated, because he can go into his Heatran, which the Jirachi does not threaten. And the T-Tar does also threaten this Abomasnow, which is very good. He misses a Blizzard, which is unfortunate for him, but it really does not like matter in the long run. And my Stone Stone Edge misses and my Hydro Pump miss mattered a lot more than that Blizzard miss, unless he froze me. But like, so here I actually go for the Crunch. I don't want to lock myself into another Stone Edge because then I'll only have one left after the Protect. And he does go into his Heatran. Steel does resist Dark in this generation, but I'm able to get off some 2 Banded Crunches on this, which deals 60% to it without the leftovers, which is really good. And he's just going for Lava Plume burns. He does not get the burn, and now this Heatran is really weakened. It's in range of Mach Punch from my Breloom, which is exactly what I want. So he actually goes for a Protect right here to get a little more leftovers. Try to make sure that if he does burn me the next turn, he will live. And unfortunately for me, he gets that burn. So this is really annoying, but I'm not really too worried. Just because Breloom does so good against this team, I think I can win with it. So I decide, save my T-Tar, because it can still come in on an attack later on, and like waste some turn or something like that. Or it can even attack even if it comes down to it. And I just go into my Breloom on this Heatran, click Mach Punch, and kill off that Heatran, which is really great for me. So now that Heatran is gone, and really the Bronzong is looking like the biggest threat to me. He brings in his Aerodactyl, and I wasn't sure why, but there was no reason for me to risk him going for an Aerial Ace or going for an Earthquake on my switch to Jirachi, so I just decided to sack off T-Tar. It actually goes for the Roost, I guess trying to bluff me out right there. And I go into my Jirachi. I was tempted to Body Slam here, expecting like the Water Psychic Starmie to switch in, but I decided to just go straight for the safe Iron Head. And if the Aerodactyl does switch out, I get damage on something, and he'll take rocks when it comes back in. Now here he reveals a Slowbro, and the moment I saw the Slowbro, I was a little worried. I was actually a little surprised, but I'm like, oh, this is Trick Room. And it can Psychic Breloom, it can Psychic Gengar, and it can kind of threaten the Flygon. Thankfully, it does not have Regenerator, so that's really good for me, but I could have gone for an Iron Head flinch right here. Instead, I decided to just go get some good damage with the Body Slam. I actually get a crit, which helps a little bit, but not too much, as you'll see in the next turn. As he actually does not go for the Trick Room, I get a Paralysis, but it doesn't really matter unless he gets full parried. So I go into my Gengar right here, and I do have Substitute, but there's no reason to go for it, because then he can Trick Room, and then that'll be really bad for me. So I just go straight for the Shadow Ball, and take out the Slowbro. Now here he brings in his Tyranitar. I do not expect this to be Choice Scarf, because he did lead with it, and because his team is Trick Room based, so I actually thought it might be like a Mixed Tar or like a Bantar, and I just Focus Blast that Tyranitar. Thankfully I hit and I knock it out, but I think at that point Breloom was just ready to win the game. So I go for the Shadow Ball on this Bronzong as he goes for the Trick Room. And right here, I decided to just save my Gengar, because it might be useful taking a Blizzard from the Abomasnow or something of the sorts, and just sack off my Flygon, which is not really that good in this situation. It's not really going to do much. I do have the Mach Punch on this Breloom, which is really big right now. I can Mach Punch that Bronzong, take it out. He does have Protect with his Abomasnow to let him get a little bit of leftovers recovery, but if he goes for the Protect, then my Gengar will be able to outspeed him, because the Trick Room will end if he somehow loses Mach Punch and kills me. So I just go for the Mach Punch and take out that Abomasnow. So I'm able to win this DPP game, my very first SPL game. It was really, I mean, our team had already won the week at this point, so that relieved a lot of the pressure that I felt. But I am really glad that this team was able to put in the work. His team was very weak to Breloom, and I think I played the Breloom quite well to be able to utilize it to beat his team. And I think the Banded Tyranitar also put in a lot of work despite the misses, and the Suicune was really important to check that Bronzong. The Trick Room was like the big threat that he had to my team. But yeah, that's my first DPP game, my first SPL game, excuse me, and not my first DPP game. I have played DPP before, but yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.